Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our daily press review on CAM1 Radio. We begin today with the Guardian Post, which talks about the World Bank grants 30 billion francs CFA for roads in Cameroon. You can read this story today on page 3 of the Guardian Post. Meantime, the Guardian Post also talks about the chairman Tony Elumelu, who emphasizes on company's strong corporate governance vision. And this is a most read story today on the Guardian Post as Douala Port Authority engages Misole population on potential benefits. You can read this story today too on the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post also profiles its personality of the week, Adolphe Noir Dongo of the Autonomous Sinking Fund, who also happens to be the GM, I reiterate, the general manager of the Autonomous Sinking Fund. You can read this story today on page 5 of the Guardian Post. Municipal Update is also out today and talks about influencer in Yaoundé, Stifa, who inspires ICT university students on digital careers. You can read this story today on page 3 of Municipal Update. Central Africa Carrefour Policy Institute to expand women empowerment drive. You can read this story today too on the Municipal Update as Camtel and Camwater engage deal to boost their services. Page 2 of Municipal Update is where you can read this story today. Kumba Mabanda community gets potable water at last. Page 6 of Municipal Updates highlights more stuffs about this story. Regard Dumont is also out today and profiles the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Coutez, and applauds her tenacity, activism, and her regular presence on the field to supervise projects despite her ministerial status. Afrique Info is also out today and questions why the Secretary to the Minister of Economic Planning and Urban Development is acting like the Minister. The editorialist highlights a number of points to this effect and asks, where is the minister, Dr. Tiger? Telegram is also out today and on its part talks about a document drafted by the Workers' Union at the Port Authority in Douala, addressed to the head of state. La Croix Septentrion is also out today and tells us everything there is to know about the project called Viva Logon. You can read this story today on page 3 and 6, or page 3 to 6 of La Croix Septentrion, which is out today. La Meteo is also out today and says the Ministry of Basic Education evaluates the performance of its services and programs as of 2023 in a meeting chaired by Charles Nanga, Inspector General of Services at the Ministry, who represented the Minister, Professor Laurent Serge Etudingwa, during a 2-day working session with the staffs and general coordinators of the ministry. The meeting was also geared towards adjusting the budget and conducting financial projections for 2025 to 2027. Info Matin is also out today and says the Minister of Commerce, Luc Magloire Mbaga Atangana, has shut down the operations of an illegal rice factory in Yaoundé. You can read that story today on Info Matin. Cameroon Tribune is also out today and says, in an ordinance signed by the head of state yesterday in Yaoundé, certain dispositions were put in place to adjust the laws governing the financial sector in Cameroon. You can read this story today on page 8. Also, Cameroon Tribune talks about the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute, who also wants to realize some economic projections which are supposed to take place in 2025 to 2027. I will reiterate, also the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute, also wants to discuss 2025-2027 economic projections. You can read this story today on page 2 and 3 of Cameroon Tribune. Mutation is also out today and says over 8,000 bags of Avarié rice were tampered with at the port in Douala and put back in the market by a company based in Yaoundé, a situation which prompted the seizure of the goods by the elements of the National Gendarmerie. You can read this story today on the Mutation. Nouvelle Expression headlines with taxis and commercial motorbikes trapped in Bamenda. According to Nouvelle Expression, taxi drivers and commercial bike riders are going through hell in the northwest region as a result of separatist factions who target them overnight and burn down their vehicles. The separatist fighters believe that all taxis should be painted blue and white, like the colors of the supposed Amazonian flag. You can read this story today on Nouvelle Expression. Le Messager is also out and says, following the ranking disclosed by the World Bank concerning ports in the world, the Kribi port, which was ranked amongst the least performant ports, is working on its infrastructure and wants to ameliorate its status on the list in the nearest future. You can read the story today on Le Messager. L'économie quotidien is out today and talks economy as always and throws light on the ordinance signed by the President Paul Biya yesterday, June 20th. The document stipulates the modification of some financial laws in Cameroon. Eco Sante talks about the International Day of Refugees, which was celebrated yesterday, and stresses on the fact that Cameroon welcomes over 475,000 refugees. Plus, Eco Sante says in West Africa and Central Africa, only 27% of children with HIV/AIDS have access to treatment. Emergence is out today and says Cameroon regards or Cameroon. Emergence is out today and says Cameroon records over 3 million cases of malaria annually. L'info show is also out today and says the Minister of Sports and Physical Education is satisfied and happy with the performance of athletes in Cameroon who have acquired over 35 medals this June alone. Quotidien Realite is also out today and says President Paul Biya will leave the presidential palace at Etudi when God will decide, and not because of unnecessary gossip and rumors by citizens. Also, the Minister of Higher Education, Jacques Famindongo, has created a working group to accompany student entrepreneurs. You can read all of these stories today on a Quotidien Realite. L'Oeil du Sahel is also out today and says one person has been reported dead in the Benue National Park and 3 others have been wounded in the north region of the country. You can read these stories today on L'Oeil du Sahel. La Voix des Jeunes is out today and talks of the issuing of national identity cards and the reduction of the cost of fiscal stamps in Cameroon. You can read all of these stories today. Also, Le Soir is out today and talks about the 23rd edition of the Seniors Athleticism Competition in Africa, which begins today, 21st June, in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Le Dépendant is out today and talks economy today and says Frank Biya has met with some potential investors from the financial institution Roger Pay in Maryland, that is in the United States. The institution wants to inject over 25,000 billion francs CFA for the financing of projects in Cameroon, most precisely in transport, public works, telecommunications, and the tourism sectors in Cameroon. Conjuncture Economic is out today and sheds more light on the Glencore affair and says President Paul Biya wants the culprits to be found. La Voix is also out today and compares and contrasts a Nigerian law to that of the Cameroonian. No, La Voix compares and contrasts a Nigerian law to that of Cameroon following the recent law signed by President Bola Tinubu of Nigeria, restricting government officials from going on holidays abroad financed by public funds. According to La Voix, the same law should be applied in Cameroon. Echo du Parlement is out today and says the members of parliament rigorously examine 4 bills and adopt them after 5 hours of debate. That is what Echo du Parlement has installed today for us. It should be noted that Echo du Parlement talks only about news of the parliament. Le Populi is also out today and talks about the Minister of Public Health daunting quest in the fight against malaria, as he is in need for more financial assistance to accompany or accomplish this task. Le Drapeau is also out today and in-depthly analyzes the advantages which the construction of a center of production will bring to Cameroonians in the nearest future. Afrique Environnement is out today and says the mayor of Yaoundé, Luc Messia Tangana, talks of more than 61 billion francs CFA, which is needed to beautify the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the papers which are on the kiosk today for you on this our daily press review, and we shall be back here only on Monday to talk about more pressing issues in our very beautiful country. See you on Monday.